If the Dallas Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl, that means the Texas Longhorns are winning the national championship.
You heard it here first, folks.
Folks. I don't know, Jim, but that seems unlikely. We'll see. AP top. What?
So unnecessary.
Do you really think they're winning it?
I don't see why they couldn't. You thought Indiana was winning it last year?
Fair point. So, like, Central Florida is winning it this year, then? Like, what?
Buddy,
What's our...
Indiana and Central Florida?
Okay. Come on.
Not quite.
Come on. Either way, we finally...
I'm going to fight within 30 seconds.
We finally have an AP Top 25 to react to.
Yes.
This is our preseason rankings. Ohio State coming in number
Commence
1.
reaction
Ayo.
now.
Sure, but the ones in light blue are essentially the teams from this area that we would care about. Texas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma all in the top 10. Texas Tech, maybe if they had Brandon Sorsby, would be in the top 10. We're not sure. But they're 12. SMU is 19. That is the current state of
You
college
missed
football.
number 25.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the one that this area cares about, not the one that Jonah cares about.
This area of the room cares about. Honestly, I don't even care about the AP Top 25. It's good for shows like this just so we can argue about something, but I don't even care as it relates to my own school because I can set my watch to it. Every August, the University of Missouri will check in somewhere between 17 and 25, and it doesn't matter. Just an arbitrary ranking to get people... it's just it's the original Rage Bait is what the AP Top 25 is. Do you know
Especially
that?
the preseason.
Before Rage Bait was Rage Bait, we had the AP Top 25 preseason poll.
That's what the Associated Press was going for. I'm certain.
That's what the AP is known for.
Yeah.
Associated Press. You're home for Rage Bait.
Well, I mean, I will say last year when Texas was number 1, and they were number 1, I think, for the first time in like 50-something years, and then they looked bad in their opener against Ohio State, or whenever they played Ohio State. Was it the first game? I think it was the first game of the season. Might have been the second. But yeah, it was like, oh, you come in as the preseason number 1 and look how bad you are. So yes, I think you're right. I mean, Steve Sarkisian said earlier this week, we have come to realize, hopefully as a team, that none of this matters. The only thing that matters is how we play on Saturdays. And if anything, I think why it is any sort of valuable is to put perspective to like the conferences as a whole, right? Like
yes.
You have Ohio State and Oregon, both Big Ten schools, topping the list. Of the top 5, I think, or maybe it was the top 7, Georgia and Texas were the only 2 teams within the top 7 who didn't receive a first place vote. Texas did not receive a first place vote. Yes, they're in the top 5, but that's because of the cumulative other votes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have Clemson being left out of the poll entirely,
Finally.
which, yeah, I think that's been a long time coming. But yeah, in a year where I do think there is more parity in college football within kind of the top 25.
It's hilarious to see Indiana 5 spots ahead of Alabama in a preseason
That is
top
insane.
25.
But that's what I mean, where the parity is kind of there. In some ways, it's like the parity maybe is a little more so relegated to like the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's this big drop off with everybody else. But within those 2 conferences, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, of course, Ohio State comes in at number 1, but like, do we think they're winning the national championship? Think someone could give them a run for their
There's
money?
like 15 teams there that I could
Yeah.
talk myself into winning a championship. I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite. I mean, Oregon should be really, really good, but they're kind of snake bitten a little bit as it relates to performing in the playoffs or championship. So I got to see it from them, but they've got a great quarterback. Their offense is electric. Corian Moore, shout out Duncanville. He's balling out. He's going to be balling out there. So I don't know. Give me the Ducks.
Okay,
I mean-
Pat McAfee.
Whoa,
Sorry.
okay. Anyway.
That's the most rude thing you've ever said to me.
No, I didn't mean that, Pat. It just sounded like it.
What,
Give me
give
the
me the
Ducks.
Ducks.
We need Jonah's AI album to get dropped off soon.
Yes, that'll be coming out tomorrow.
Never mind.
It'll be 1999. The grift has begun.
But taking from the Big Ten wouldn't be a bad pick. I mean, it's been literally 4 years technically, since an SEC team has played for a national championship. It's been the Big 12 and Big Ten essentially
Big
trading
12.
back and forth for the last 3 years. And that speaks to a little bit how the power dynamic has shifted. Maybe not necessarily in terms of overall depth of teams, right? But in terms of performance at the high end when you have the top teams, more people are looking toward the Big Ten. Maybe it's because of schedule, maybe it's because of other factors. Who knows? But they've run things lately, and that's kind of interesting.
Do we have any gripe with the top 25? Can we throw that back up? Like, is there anything that really bothers us from this ranking?
I think, well, maybe not bothers, but I feel like TCU finishing last season in the top 25 and not making it this time
Losing
around.
their starting quarterback.
Other 11 votes. 11 votes for TCU to make it in.
I'm okay with the TCU just because when you lose your star quarterback to the reigning champs, I can understand the downvote there.
That's fair. That's fair. I think, I don't know. I guess I look at SMU being in there.
SMU seems high.
Yeah. And then you look at, I don't know. I guess the ACC and the Big 12 are pretty comparable in terms of like strength of schedule opponents.
Roughly.
I'm a little surprised Ole Miss is ahead of LSU.
Yeah.
Just given the Lane Kiffin move and the exodus of some players.
But Trinidad's coming back, so that's something, right?
Oklahoma seems high. I honestly think Tech is way too low.
I'm not so sure about that. Like, if you're kind of capping the Big 12 at what Tech and BYU are, then that sounds about right. I mean, listen, for as good as Tech was last year in conference,
They lost a lot of guys, too.
and you can't come out of conference and then put a 0 on the scoreboard in the biggest game of the year. So I feel like Tech is in that Oregon class for me, but the difference is Oregon
One.
Yeah, that's the reality.
Yeah.
It's like Oregon has proven they can at least get to the second round,
Fair point.
it's not trying to throw Tech under the bus, but that's just the reality of what, especially how it's constructed, where it's like the top 10 are, like as Michelle said, 2 conferences and Notre Dame. That is the upper echelon that you are trying to break into.
Notre Dame feels really high, too.
What do you guys think of LSU at 11 with Lane Kiffin in his first year? You think it's
I think they'll finish
reasonable?
above that. I think they'll finish in the top 10.
And do you think that A&M coming off, which A&M had a remarkable season last year.
So long as nobody wears number 5 for LSU this year.
Yeah. Oh,
Which-
I'm pretty sure they have understood.
That's such a weird situation.
Should we talk about that tomorrow on the show?
We need to.
How the number 5 is now banned across the United
Sports.
States. No one's allowed to wear
literally
number
the
5.
United States, yeah. We didn't actually have a 5th president of the United
Dak
States.
would have been 5, but he decided to be 4 out of respect to Jaden
Out of
Daniels.
respect for James.
He saw it coming. I think A&M, this pains me to say, but coming off of the season that they had,
Are we recording this?
and it's airing
Hey,
live.
we have had her put the guns up for Texas Tech before, so
Yeah, and got captured. I think they're going to have a really good year. I mean, they had a historical year last year.
Yeah.
And Elko is a guy that seems to have kind of brought that like blue collarness back to A&M in a
some
way where
pass
like they have,
rushers.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say they have big guys up front on both sides of the ball.
Get some guys who can rush the pass. Cassius Howell was a beast.
And with their quarterback coming back, obviously he had such a good year last year. I expect them to do well. I
they
don't
lost
know.
some weapons though, receiving wise.
Yeah.
that first, like, obviously Kentucky will give fits for everybody in the SEC, but that first real game against LSU on the 26th of September
Oh, that'll be
That's fun.
in Death Valley,
Yep.
that will
Yikes.
tell you a lot.
That's a tester.
Dude, how do you compare? Like nothing.
You all right?
I just the SEC. Like I'm picturing A&M, LSU, and Death Valley, and there's nothing that comes close in conferences outside of that in the Big Ten. Like think about that compared to a Houston at Arizona State.
Well, up until like 3 years ago, Texas OU was outside of both of those two. But anyway,
I know, but that's but they're not.
no, I know.
Like
but
that
that's less to do.
continues this.
That's less to do with the conferences and more to do with the money involved and what their prospects do later on. Like they got to the SEC because of what's happening in the AP right now, which is the SEC gets a boost in terms of preseason rankings, and therefore if you do better against your schedule, you're not fighting against that. They're undefeated,
That
but they
is
haven't
true.
played anybody moniker this whole time. So it's fed into itself.
As far as what these do, in addition to rage bait propaganda for the Associated Press, it does make a case for strength of schedule down the road. And ultimately, that does mean something, apparently,
Yeah.
with the playoff committee when it comes to who gets in and who doesn't. So
Absolutely. Like
whether these rankings have credibility and real logic behind them, they have impact down the road.
10 of these teams could actually fit these rankings by the time we're in week 2.
Yeah.
And that's a reality.
Yeah.
And The sad part is like we don't know,
Yeah.
and that's simultaneously the fun of college football and can be the deficit in week 5 when someone's got a win against, let's say, number 7 Miami, but Miami fell off a cliff this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where some of this gets a little murky for me.
It's sort of like the NFL Top 100. Are we rewarding the previous season, or are we
Right.
talking about who's the best team right
That's
now?
true.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a hybrid, right? And it's an imperfect science, and it's just, again, meant to get us to discuss, argue, debate. I got no problem with the ranking, and
No.
there's probably a few that I would, adjust a little bit. But
I mean,
let us know. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about it? Are teams ranked too high, too low?
Is Arch Manning winning the Heisman?
That's a bigger topic of discussion. What does the Heisman odds look like? Who's going to win that?
I do think he has a better year this year.
He better.
I do think, yeah.
I mean,
But
if Texas
do-
wants to go where they want to, they need Arch to be driving the ship, and
Yeah.
he can't struggle like he did for the first 6 weeks of the year
I
last
mean,
year.
he struggled, yeah.
He found his footing. It wasn't
Yeah.
like he didn't eventually get there, but there were some speed bumps along the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Texas isn't making a deep run if Arch isn't playing Heisman football. Simple as that.